Welcome to the Invisible Marketer Podcast. I'm your host, Coena. In this episode, I am sitting down with Andy Holst. In today's episode, Andy shares valuable insights into using networking as a strategy in your business, and he also shares his secrets for staying productive as a high performer. To get today's show notes, head on over to invisiblemarketer.com/Andy. Let's dive on in. I've seen you more than one place, and I was like, this guy's going places. He's like a little bit of everywhere. Could you tell my audience a little bit about what it is you do?
I started my entrepreneurial life almost 3 years ago. Before that, I was working for someone else. I felt stuck in myself. I was struggling with the old mindset I had back then for many years. I was not prioritizing myself and what's required, especially as a leader, to do self-care and doing those most important things to feel good about yourself and setting boundaries for yourself. It was basically back in 2021 that I became my own business owner. I was really afraid of how is this going to go with that old mindset I had back then. I couldn't see as much opportunities. I could only see the worst case, which I was used to in the past, seeing things like failure, expecting the worst case. And when I became my own business owner, I started to implement my own systems, being much structured and organized and prioritizing the things that really matters, the most important things, basically working on my business, working on my network, connecting more with other leaders, entrepreneurs out there. One small, simple step led to bigger steps. Back then, when I started out as an entrepreneur, I was really scared to connect with successful, amazing people because I had this limited mindset back then and I was afraid to do mistakes, look like a fool and such. Once you connect with those people and you realize that those most successful people, entrepreneurs and great leaders, have been where I was at a few years ago, they would just want to see you succeed. They're there to support you. I realized the more connected you are with those types of people, entrepreneurs, high performers, and they only want to see the best from you. It's contagious. You gain a lot of confidence really fast being around with those people in different communities. And I connected with those people and reaching out to them and exposing myself, taking uncomfortable actions, being vulnerable and speaking from my heart, from within, instead of pretending to be someone. Went really quick. You gain confidence and you connect with more amazing entrepreneurs. And eventually you don't feel afraid anymore. It's the new normal to just want to reach the next level. The value is within the relationships you have with others because that gives opportunities and such. And it's just catapults my growth. I've been into so many different mastermind groups, events, communities. Of course, getting a lot of books. That was something also I started with when I became a business owner. Started prioritizing reading books, taking notes, starting with journaling 2 years ago when I actually started to implement my journaling habits.
I can relate to that so much. A couple of months ago, you wouldn't even see me on camera. I was so scared. I'd never been on social media up until the 1st of January. I committed to posting on social media every single day. And I have since then. I have literally done that. You're so right about networking. As I'm doing this podcast and I'm networking with people, I'm attending these events, reaching out to people, it's helping my confidence level. They're building me up. I'm building them up. I feel like if I hadn't have done that, my growth would have been so much harder and longer than what it has been over the last couple of months.
That's amazing. It's so true. And when you say that, I don't recall you ever even being shy in front of the camera or taking those couple of steps. I've been doing this for quite some time, but I can relate to you. When you start showing yourself right in front of the camera to the public space, you become too used to it rather quickly when you do it. Networking is so important. It's all about investing in yourself. Also, it's an investment when you create those valuable relationships to learn from others. They learn from you, and you never know what kind of opportunities there will be. Even the best entrepreneurs, coaches, and business owners, they always invest in themselves. They always some relevant information they need to learn to overcome their ongoing obstacles. There's always something challenging you're working at the
I
moment.
truly believe that when you get stuck, you need to go figure out that. You don't need to keep being stuck and keep hitting your head against the brick wall, right? You need to find the person that's going to help you get over that hurdle.
It doesn't have to be necessarily a person. You can read a good bestseller book or something like that. When you invest in yourself, you have to pay attention. Usually it's when you're paying for things or being part of an event or being coached by someone.
Would you say that you were an introvert or extrovert, or have you ever struggled with being an introvert in the past?
I have always been an introvert. I have, for many years, always been shy, reaching out to people. I can still feel like it's a challenge from time to time. I have worked so much on myself when it comes to spirituality, doing meditation, reading books by finding your inner peace by going from within compared to going after external things, basically to make sure you feel good about yourself from within. When you start to be yourself and be authentic, then you don't think too much about how others will perceive you, even if they think, oh, you're crazy. Entrepreneurs usually get exposed to that. Oh, that's a crazy dude. Taking those risks, being the own person and the own owner of business. I was in the past very insecure in many ways. The more I started to read books about entrepreneurial life and about networking, because it's not about the cool things you do or the amazing things you do. It's about connecting with others, being authentic and connect through emotions, be able to understand the people you interact with. Then when you do that, you get energized. I get so energized by having conversations like this, having calls and so on. I just wish there were so many more hours during a day because I feel like the time is just never enough to doing those amazing things to connect with others.
One of the things that I focus on in my community is helping introverts truly just hone in on their superpower of being an introvert. Every introvert that I've ever met is so creative and they have so many talents and so many great ideas. And that's the purpose of my podcast is I want to bring all these introverts on and I want them to just share their message and share their unique talents. I would get feelings of I'm never going to be worth anything. No one ever wants to hear what I have to say. I overcame that. I want other introverts to be empowered to really use introvert as a superpower and not just think of it as a bad thing.
That's amazing. It's so important, especially when you take those steps yourself and you realize that you can help others who were in that situation you were in. It requires so little to empower others and to get them small confidence to take those small uncomfortable actions to get outside of their comfort zone. And when they do, they start to realize, oh, there's another world out there that I was so afraid to get exposed to.
People message me saying, you being out on camera is inspiring me. You doing your podcast is inspiring me. You starting a YouTube channel inspired me to start a channel. That right there is worth more than anything to me. Being able to know that I can inspire other people and give them confidence that if I can do it, they can do it.
Everybody has that ability to go after dreams, aspirations, and aim high, aim for big goals.
What is it that you help your clients with?
I am a high performer. I love to be really productive. I like to have structure and systems in place. What I've helped other people, especially those who are either going to start a business already are entrepreneurs, is to manage their database better for keeping track of their prospects and clients, but also to attract new clients much more efficiently. I do have those like high performer skills and habits that I acquired over the years. And it's so important to work on that while being an entrepreneur. What do they say about great leaders? They ingest relevant information quickly and adapt and push themselves to their other limits. High performers overall are doing the most important things, but they have so much more time to work on things that really matters. That's when you realize, especially as an entrepreneur and business owner, what you spend your time on. You realize what's important and what's not important. It's about being productive. It's doing the most important things that gives the most outcome for your growth and business growth.
I think that's so important. I used to waste so many hours. I'm better now. I use a timer. I sit down and I do 25 minutes, take a break, 25 minutes. Since I started using it, I can get podcast episodes edited really quick. I get 2 days off a week from my normal job. I have a lot to do in 2 days. One day is for family. I've had to learn the importance of prioritizing, scheduling, and setting a timer to make sure that I'm as productive as I can be because I always get distracted by Facebook, school, all these different things that just take your attention off of what you're doing. I just have to be phone free for 25 minutes and no distractions. Do the task that needs to be done or it won't get done. I am really working on that. Even if you're an entrepreneur, you have a set time per day to work in your business. We can sometimes get burnt out even as an entrepreneur, just like we could a 9-to-5 job. It's definitely important. And I feel like that is much needed, what you're doing for your clients.
It's all about being aware of what you spend your time on, and especially doing the most important things. When you're becoming aware of what you spend your time on, what really matters and what doesn't really matters, you get so much more time available. Doesn't mean that you have to be busy for the whole day. When you start out as an entrepreneur, there's always more effort and more work to do initially. When you find your system, your structure, you things to prioritize, you can have everything structured and organized so you can easily follow up your goals, your tasks, the most important things. I call it your success list of the important things you need to do, the to-do list of things that you will do depending on how much time you have available. And being organized with that and everything structured, you become so much more productive and efficient. I have my ways of reminding myself, and it keeps me aligned with follow my purpose, going through the journey of following the directions of those goals that I'm going after and just staying aligned with my big why. Time goes really quickly when you do that and you realize how much more effective you are. You have to get rid of your old self and old habits to live the entrepreneurial life. Many people are like that. If they're not working on personal development, they think everything is important. When you start to do that, then you waste energy, you waste time, and you cannot be productive on all the things at the same time. You need to prioritize. But of course, it helps if you have the skill set to learn new things fast and be able to implement it.
Have you ever felt that you're not good enough, that no one will want to listen to you, and you just don't have that confidence to go out there and start spreading your message? Well, I have some great news for you. We have released a course inside our free community that's all about becoming fearless, getting that unshakable confidence, and reframing your mindset, because you are good enough, and there are people out there that you can help change their lives. So when you're ready, head on over there to community.invisiblemarketer.com. And I will see you on the inside. As far as social media, do you post on social media on just written posts? Do you do videos?
I do a little bit everything. I do most posting on my own profile and in other groups to attract interest and to connect with other people, potential clients. I also post from time to time live sessions on my own profile or even other groups. I do recordings from time to time also. Put myself out there and give some valuable feedback from time to time and want to have interactions with others.
Do you feel like for the amount of effort that you put into social media, is it worth it?
For the amount of time I spent on social media and the people I connected with and those I learned from and being coached by, that if you follow the blueprint and you follow the course, it's very efficient to attract, to connect with new people, get new interactions, to build your network, build your database.
Visibility.
It's all about the consistency, because if you're not consistent and
people forget you.
they will forget you. You will forget that habit. It's so important. And when you start out doing it, maybe try out new things, the way to attract people, but you will find your way of what works on
what works best for you and what keeps you consistent.
When I started out getting my word out there, I didn't know what formula works out there, but I started to take uncomfortable actions. I was really shit scared to reach out to new entrepreneurs, leaders. I wasn't really know what I was doing. I was really scared. Should I write them a message and going to post it? I was really scared about other opinions about me, what they're going to think. I started out small and I was active. But then when I started to reach out more to entrepreneurs and other leaders, I thought that person is not going to have time for me. That person will ignore me. And then when I realized that most people, especially great successful leaders, do have time to respond back. When they do respond back, you realize how limited beliefs you had about the view about the world. And once you start to take those uncomfortable actions, reach out to new people, especially successful people, even famous people, that there's nothing to be scared of. You build confidence by doing it. The more you do it, just want to keep going. I've been an introvert my whole life before I started my entrepreneurial life. By taking those small actions, small steps, uncomfortable steps, it's definitely worth it, because that's when you create those opportunities. So if you only keep yourself isolated, even if you're in your own realm with other people, the only way to create opportunities to meet those exceptional, awesome people who will give you new opportunities, new doors to open. You have to take those uncomfortable steps. There's no other way around it. You have to expose yourself, literally.
I know it's hard. It was so hard for me. The thought of being on camera used to honestly give me panic attacks. I just started with written and I took baby steps. My journey was I took baby steps. I posted my first video and then I went live my first time. I just baby stepped it all the way. Now I'm going back to the podcast, which is mostly audio. I do video clips on YouTube. I finally have a YouTube channel. That's huge. How many years I've wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I was so afraid to put my face out there. I just love it that I actually took that uncomfortable action. I absolutely love your method of networking. I'd almost rather people that are starting start networking first and then get the confidence and start posting out there. If you network with people, most of the time they're going to support you. They're going to go comment on your post, like your post, vouch for you a little bit.
I think one seed that planted on me when I started to read this book about entrepreneurial life and networking by Shoe Polish, the most connected man in the world. He created the book, What's in It for Them. What he written there in the introduction is that when people think about the entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurial life, connecting with others, networking with others, people have an expectation that they have to impress others. Oh, if I don't impress this person with whatever their business is about or the amazing things to do, they cannot present something about it. They believe that they cannot create this relationship. They got it totally wrong. It's all about yourself. Who are you? Being authentic, being yourself. You have your principles, so stand up for them. You basically broadcast for the way you are. And when you do that, people will attract to you who are aligned with who you are. Like you said, not everybody will like you, and people will be envy of you or even jealous of you. But usually those type of people are struggling with themselves. They don't take uncomfortable actions themselves, put themselves out there, or they maybe tried it, but they didn't persist or being consistent because they were afraid to go through another setback, another failure. You can never avoid those people. They will always be there. The majority of the people, especially when you take uncomfortable actions, are the ones they are successful and they have their own challenges. The more connected you are with those amazing people, create those domino effects, positive ripple effects, which just catapult your growth.
I've been doing it. I'd never spoken at events before, and that was so hard. That was a big thing for me. Thankfully, it was recorded, so it wasn't live. I'm working my way up.
It's amazing, but it's definitely worth it. All those introverts out there, if you're doubting yourself or scared, just doing it anyways. Just putting your word out there. You don't have to pretend to be anyone. Just be yourself. Be curious about others. And when you get that, you will feel energized and you will build confidence, and will just catapult your growth even quicker the more you do it.
There are so many introverts out there. There is a Facebook group that has over 1 million, I think it is, of introverts. They're constantly posting their thoughts, how they feel. Maybe that's why I feel this way. Introverts have characteristics. I've learned so much about myself since January, and it's caused me to try to really learn more about introverts because I'm wanting to help them because that's me. That's who I am. I went into that group and I'm like, wow, look at all these thoughts. It's so great. It's a safe space, right? They don't care that people hear their thoughts. They just put it out there. I just think it's so awesome that they have that courage to even just put out their thoughts and how they're feeling. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's the top group in Facebook around introverts.
I would definitely take a look into that.
Are you enjoying today's episode and feeling inspired by the stories and the strategies that you are hearing? I would like to personally invite you to be a part of a community that is filled with people from all walks of life. Inside of there, you will discover a welcoming space filled with fellow introverts and entrepreneurs who share their knowledge, exchange ideas, and support each other's growth. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or you're new to this journey, our community is here to empower you every step of the way. You can gain access to exclusive training, insightful discussions, and valuable networking opportunities by joining our community today. Let's collaborate, learn, and grow together. Head on over to community.invisiblemarketer.com and become part of our amazing family.
I had many of those moments, really. Before I became my own business owner, when I was working for someone else, I've been in a situation basically where you have to be dependent on yourself to solve a problem, and you really can't rely on anyone else. There's no one else to help you out. You have the web, you can Google for things, find out solutions. But what I realized is if you just give it enough time, no matter what you do, you will solve it eventually. It might take you a day, it might take you 3 days, it may take you a week, it might take you 2 weeks, even in worst case a month. But if you're persistent and you're consistent and you adapt, try to think outside of the box and solve things, you build this discipline. When you can overcome a situation like that, you realize that anything is possible, literally. If you just give it enough time. That comes to anything. If you do something challenging and you don't know how to deal with it, or you used to get stressed, overwhelmed, or stressed out because I don't know how to solve this and you expect to solve it quickly. I was like that in the past. I got stressed out when I couldn't solve things quite fast enough. And you have faced those really challenging hard problems. You overcome them. Then you realize that There's nothing to be stressed about or worry about because you will find a solution eventually. You just be patient. That was definitely one of those milestones. Another milestone was when I had the gut leakage. I had problem with my eyes. I was having an unhealthy lifestyle with eating unhealthy things. That's when I decided enough is enough. That was another milestone for me because I quit with my soda intake and candy intake. That caused all of those problems with my stomach being really sensitive. It caused me a lot of embarrassment and embarrassing situations, especially when being in public spaces. I started with red light therapy around 2019. Then I started with intermittent fasting. I've been doing it 5 days a week, basically fast around between 12 to 16 hours a day, usually. And I do it 5 times a week. That changed everything. When I started to make that big change, I started to feel more energized back then. And that led to more greater habit.
I believe in that so much. I don't practice it enough. I definitely need to get my healthy lifestyle together. No soda, no sugar. I think I feel so much better.
Another milestone was I started to reshape my mindset at the same time as I became my own business owner.
A huge percentage is mindset.
Yeah.
The rest is easy. If you can just get it in your head, then you're good.
Yeah, I was not aware of that during the time, but I was realizing I had this mindset, this ego was taking too much time, energy, and space for me to being productive. I did course, have good days at being productive. What happened was basically that my ego took much time and energy from me. I was being occupied in this negative feedback loop, being negative overall. If somebody had a bad day and it affected my work and during my day, that could basically affect me for the rest of the day or many days during that week because I could be so occupied by thinking about why did I get into that situation where somebody allowed themselves to put their energy, their negativity on me and make me feel miserable. I realized that me having a limited mindset back then before I made my transformation, I was reactive, and if a day was going the way I expected it to be, especially when you work with others, then I could also be negative and complain a lot. And I realized I cannot have a life like that. And when I always complain, especially external things I cannot control. I started to read personal development books about the mindset and things like that. And I started to work on myself and work on my mindset. And then I realized that this is doable. You need to grow a growth mindset. Face your ego because it will always be there. But the more you work with it and you challenge it and you write things down, it becomes less and less. It will challenge you when you take uncomfortable actions. Now I have methods for that. Something I do when I do my meditation is to say it out loud. It should just override the things going on in your head. It also helps with visualization, incantation.
I feel like that's something that I need to do more for sure. Sometimes days are bad. My mind is going 90 to nothing all the time because I got a million things to do. It's definitely something I just need to take some time to do that.
Yeah, just start small. There are many recordings out there on the web that you can start to listen to. Try some guidance meditation. That's what I do, and it works really well. And usually the good ones, they're not longer than at least 20 to 25 minutes, up to 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. If you do that in the morning and you do a meditation in the evening, there's really good ones out there, and I can always recommend Joe Dispenza. He's awesome. When you do journaling, that's also effective. When you reflect your day, how did it feel today? It's always important to celebrate your wins. What was your wins today? How did it feel? Did you have some setbacks? And because it just makes you remember the day and the upcoming days better, since you basically focus on the highlights. What made you grow? What made you feel good? What made you feel worse maybe? And why did it make you feel worse? Usually you shouldn't feel bad when some external situation happens, because I believe everything happens for a reason. I see it as an opportunity. Every time you're being challenged by either by someone or by a problem you're facing, then that's an opportunity for you to grow.
I use ChatGPT to get my thoughts out a lot. I have a tab that's just for my thoughts. And if I'm having a bad day, I can just dump my thoughts in it. Sometimes it helps just to dump your thoughts into it.
When I do a review of my day, I preferably speak into the microphone and make a transcript of it, because it feels much more impactful when I talk about my days. I review my day by going through my memory. I recall it. So I feel that is the most powerful for me. If you basically find your ways, of course, and ChatGPT is also an amazing tool, and other AI assistant tools out there to face your ego or to question yourself. Can this be true? Because usually it's never true. You're not an expert. Yeah, but not yet. But give me time and I will be.
I love that. Where is it that people can go to find you?
I'm very active on Facebook. I do connect with others through other communities, but it's primarily I'm in those entrepreneurial groups like Mastermind by Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins. You just search for my name, Andy Holst, on Facebook. Then you can always connect with me or just follow me or reach out to me. My Facebook profile is my main contact.
I know I've been following you. I've been very inspired by what you put out on your Facebook. And it's so great. The messages you put out and just your attitude and inspiring words and even your videos and your interviews that you've done. I've seen a couple of those already. So it's been great just following you. I've been wanting to get you on here. Another thing that I will say, one of the first times that we actually connected on Facebook is when I lost the episode that I had edited and I had to re-edit it. It was right around the time of my launch and I had 5 episodes. I had the launch party I had to prepare for, all the promotional campaigns, and then I lose one of the episodes that I had to re-edit. And this was before I got good at editing quickly. What your response was to me at that time and how supportive you were and how you sent me a thanks and I'm going to put this on my calendar for your launch date. It just meant a lot to me. I felt like that connection, the inspiring and powerful words that you said to me, it just stood out to me. That was another reason why I feel you'd be great for the podcast and being able to come on and share who you are and your message and how you help people.
Thank you so much for saying all those things. It means a lot to me. It's so important. I mentioned to say those little small things that maybe don't mean so much for yourself, but it means a lot to the other person that is receiving it. That's what I felt when I started to connect with other people who's been doing this entrepreneurial life, personal development life, especially when you feel insecure or having struggles, that just having that little support from someone gives you a lot of boost, confidence boost. And I'm glad that I could help encourage you to keep on, think about the things you could think about.
I just really appreciated that. And it just left an impression on me. I'm big about impressions. What do I remember this person for and what impact did they have on me? That goes a long way with me. But I'm so supportive to everybody. I will follow you. I will try to be at your challenges, be at your live events. I'll do everything for you. If you've ever made an impression on me or I feel like you're so inspiring, I love your message. I love what you're doing and I know you're going to have a big impact. And that's how I felt about you. Is there any final words or anything that you would like to say to my audience?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to your podcast. And I got really inspired by the things you said about how quickly you have grown since January by putting your face out there in front of the camera and all those amazing things. To your audience, I would just would say that no matter what doubts, whatever you're scared of, or whatever critics you might get from others, that in the end, when it comes to personal development, especially when you are your own leader, taking those uncomfortable steps, when you start to work on your own growth and taking those uncomfortable steps, some people will be inspired and wonder what has changed with you when you start to go through that process and grow on yourself and to face your setbacks, failures, and so on. There will be always times when you will connect with new people, amazing entrepreneurs, amazing personal development people, coaches, experts, and so on. You will lose connections with old friends. Maybe in worst case that you maybe have some critics, maybe from family members or relatives. When you're connected with amazing people who are very energetic and positive and supportive, that's the people you want to spend more time with. When you do that, then you realize which people that really matters to you. So you'll be very more aware of people who supports you and push you and those who doesn't really give you any valuable feedback for the journey that you pursue. No matter what fears and doubts you have, try to connect with more amazing people like yourself and others. You will feel a lot more better to face new struggles and challenges. The more connected you are with other amazing people that has gone through this process, this journey that you are going through, then it will feel a lot more easier to go through it as long as you holding yourself accountable for the promises you make to yourself and to others. It's never too late to start, and you will be surprised about how many amazing people is out there, especially those who start the entrepreneurial life or the personal development journey later on, who maybe are even in their 60s or 70s or even 80s, how much of an inspiration they are. But by still pursuing and being like their own business owner, I don't see old as a problem really, because I know through holistical treatment and having a healthy lifestyle, you can easily become 120, being those blue zone people who are focused, connected, and present. It's never too late. The biggest regret you will have is when you didn't do those things that you really wanted to do. You played it safe. You stayed in the same comfort zone. You didn't reach out to new people that you would like to connect or learn from. At this moment, maybe you're scared to face or being judged. The sooner you take uncomfortable actions, the sooner you will grow, and you will feel more happiness, and it will feel more purposeful when you connecting with others, can help others in whatever experience and expertise that you have.
Thank you for listening to the Invisible Marketer podcast. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Andy. To access the show notes and to be able to follow Andy on his journey, head on over to invisiblemarketer.com/Andy. As always, keep tuning in to discover even more strategies that are tailored to using your superpower of being an introvert to go out and make an impact.